572-0383 and 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Hello there, good morning, good afternoon, good night to our listeners and our viewers in St. Lucia and across the globe, especially those of you checking us out on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on X. Welcome to Hard Drive for today, Friday, the 20th of June. Rather unusual. That's because normally at this time we have Meet the Minister. But unfortunately, there'll be no Meet the Minister program this morning. I was told that because of the holiday yesterday, it was a little difficult getting things organized. But, you know, St. Lucia, we'll be happy already. You know, Tony, we know the way we roll.
Yes, that's right. That's right. As a matter of fact, your favorite word, it's fair. you get it one time?
Yes, of course I get it one time.
Holiday, following day, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So why have a Meet the Minister and you didn't have a Meet the Opposition the day before? So it's fair.
I get it.
Good morning, Andre. How are you, man?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
How was your holiday?
It was very nice, man. I did a lot of
resting?
Relaxing, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about resting, but I was relaxing.
Okay.
That's for sure. And I feel sometimes maybe my life is a little boring, you know. The fact that once you say I get a little time for myself, I just want to relax. Yeah. Now, sometimes,
Welcome to the club.
sometimes people who are around you don't understand those things.
That's right.
They think, this is the time for action.
That's right.
Let's go here, let's go there, let's go everywhere. But in my mind, at my age, I just want to just chill for a little while. Yeah.
Welcome to the club. So that's what I did. At least I heard you saying this morning that you went there, you passed on show, say after 8 o'clock.
Last night,
like
yes, I was on the road about that time.
My vehicle never started until this morning.
Wow. Well, my vehicle started a few times, actually. It might started a few times. So, yeah, but Tony, there's a COVID variant, man. They say that thing's not playing.
I suspect
it has a wicked sore throat. It gives you a wicked sore throat. And, Mr. Sonson called, and he was saying that he has a bad sore throat.
Maybe that's what I
had.
had.
Probably what he has. Maybe. But I read a little about it this morning, and so this is what's around.
That's loud.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. Sorry if you can hear this. The sound is this. The refurbishment still continues there. In the other unit.
What?
I think they need to be working night and day today.
Yeah. You know, workers, they ain't doing that. As a matter of fact, come to think of it, the one who did in here, remember? Well, I don't even remember that. He did some nights because he wanted to finish it. You remember, right?
I remember, of course.
Some nights.
Yeah, and that's not a solution.
Oh gosh, you had to throw that in.
That's not a solution.
Man,
that's right.
Serious, Come to think of it, wow.
So maybe our St. Lucian brothers and sisters want to work maybe a double shift or night shift or whatever, but then of course you're dealing with the entire gamut of solutions. So the person who's paying the bills is a solution. So they say, nah, bread, man.
Yeah,
you got to work with normal working hours.
Right. Or it's a job, because sometimes that's what it is. How much you charging me to refurbish my place? I'll charge you X amount. Boy, I want to finish that job because they have more work for me out there. So I could do night and day, which is exactly what the guy did with us here. I'll work night and day, man, so that I can finish the job to move on.
And he did.
He certainly did.
Yeah. The solutions would do it, but of course, time and a half. or double time, right?
But like I said, if it's a job, you want to finish the job. Just finish the job.
Tony, the amount of people who are in Donald Trump's circle that repeating that phrase now.
Finish the job.
Yeah, they're in his circle. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
Finish the job like it's no big deal. You have fellas like Piers Morgan saying, "Oh, I have to commend the Israeli government on that well executed thing with the pagers. The guys are Tony. The guys are commending those things.
Are you kidding?
We live in a
pages that exploded.
Yeah, we live in a warped world. They actually commend. He said, "Great job,
great job,
great job." That's what Trump said. Great job. Imagine the fellas are commending when people murder people. Things blow up in people's face and so on.
Imagine
they're
that.
pretending as though it was only as though it was only Hezbollah followers that happened. No, a lot of innocent people died in that attack. But Tony, what goes around comes around. Look, I think the Iranians dropped a few bombs there in Israel. One of them hit a hospital. It didn't hit it completely. But I don't know exactly I don't know if anybody died or anything. The Israelis are upset.
I could imagine.
They are angry because you bomb our hospital. Tony, they've bombed almost every hospital in Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
They've bombed almost every hospital, but they don't like it when you bomb them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the sad thing is that they have a whole bunch of people, well, a lot less these days, who support what they're doing. But that's for another story.
That's right, yes.
All right, so Tony, let me just remind our listeners, I said it to our last caller this morning on What's on Your Mind, that I think we've gotten most of the prizes together. And just a very important point, we want those cakes to be nice and fresh. Yeah, nice and fresh for you. So we had to wait until now. We have a final day, so it looked like it's going to be some day next week, most likely midweek, somewhere around there. Should have all the prizes together, including all your lovely cakes, compliments, Angel Without Wings. So we'll be announcing what day to come in and collect your prizes. In fact, from what day? Okay.
Let me just give tip my little hat to Angels Without Wings, Andre. That's amazing. Something like 6 cakes, something like that, 5, 6.
Yeah, I think five. Yeah, five.
Yeah. The big one and 4 smaller ones.
4 small ones. Yeah.
And let me just say this again. When I saw one of the small ones, I was like, hey, but wait, the person didn't collect the main prize, the big cake.
Yeah.
Because ain't nothing small about that one.
That's true, Tony. That's really true.
So I never saw the big one. So I suppose it was really big, good size. And not only is it a lot of cakes, but also the quality. You know what I mean? The quality of the cakes.
And the love that goes into baking these cakes.
Exactly. So Marie, again, tip my little hat off to you. We thank you very, very much from the bottom of our hearts. And having said that, to all the other prize donors as well, we want to say thank you very, very much.
Alrighty, definitely.
Oh, I saw one of them this morning, by the way. The Crown Auto.
Oh, yes.
So that will be available next week as well.
Okay, folks, let me just say good morning and happy birthday in advance to Silton, our regular listener, regular caller to, I think, some of our shows, if not most. Yeah, so Silton is celebrating her birthday tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, so Silton, happy birthday in advance. We know that you're going through some challenging times. I mean, it's just life, unfortunately, in one way or the other. We're all facing some kind of challenge, Tony. The thing is how we respond to the challenge.
Yes.
And another thing, Tony, is if we're able to respond adequately. Are we in a position to respond adequately? Look at Justin Bieber, for example.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber is going through his issues. He has anger issues, and he's admitting it. He's admitting it. And even in some of the texts that he sent, you could feel the anger coming from him, right? Because people are saying to him, "Oh, you have a problem and you have to get yourself together," this sort of thing. And he's saying, "Well, for me to suppress my anger, that's not being human," that kind of thing. It's a normal thing for people to be like that. And if I have to suppress it, or if I could have, I would have, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So imagine Justin Bieber, Tony, multi-millionaire, many, many times over. Great musician, great artist, a great singer. I love all his songs. There's not a song, Tony, that Justin Bieber has ever produced. Somebody say, I don't like that one.
Yeah.
He has like a gift, man. Right?
He's pretty good.
Yeah, but behind that facade, there's some serious issues going on there.
That's the human side of us.
Yes, exactly.
We all have issues. That's
to
amazing,
one degree or the other.
That's right. That's right. That's amazing. Every single one of us dealing with issues.
That's right.
Stuff that people say, well, how are you like that? And we're wondering about. There was a time I thought everybody was like that. Whatever little thing that I have, I thought everybody was like
probably.
that.
Maybe all of us have a little of something.
Right. But it's a matter of how you manage it. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you're able to manage it.
Yes.
Sometimes you're just not in a position to manage. So we have a problem there. A problem where you have an issue, and usually, Tony, your problems are associated, or at least the cure for your problem is usually associated with having the resources.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So either the financial resources, that's one thing, or you have resources, meaning individuals, people who have the wherewithal to be in your circle and to advise you and so on. So either way, you need resources.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I wonder what my issue is.
he laughed because he probably, as soon as he's there, he was like, oh, too numerous to mention.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why you can't figure out.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, it's about managing.
Yeah.
Managing. Yeah, man. Yeah, I was just thinking about it. You know, what's my issue?
It's amazing that growing up, you don't think about these things, your issues. You just know you're living. And whatever, if something, pisses you off, you get mad and, you go along your merry way. But then you start to realize, but wait a second, when people start maybe mentioning it to you, you start realizing, wait, I like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then again, you're like, no, I'm not exactly like that. And then when you look into it, you realize, oh yeah, I'm like that.
Yeah.
Can I change it? Like Justin Bieber, can I change it? It's hard. Maybe I can't. Can you live with it?
Yes. But really and truly, Tony, I mean, anger, while anger, it could be a positive thing because you could direct your anger in a positive way. For example, I could be angry at the murder rate in the country. That's positive anger.
Yes.
But there's also the destructive one now where you're continually in that mode. And I suspect that's what Justin Bieber is going through.
Yeah.
Remember Chris Brown had a similar issue, these anger management issues and so on, and to the point where they actually they sent him to rehab. Imagine when rehab put me out. Imagine you're going to rehab for help and rehab put you outside. I don't think he lasted 3 months inside there.
You're unhelpable.
Yeah, exactly. So then now since they kick him out of rehab, they had to put him in jail.
Imagine that.
Yes, I think he spent about 3 months there, I think.
Is it the Rihanna time thing?
Yes, that was around Rihanna's time. That's correct. So anger management issues. Boy, I mean, we all have a right to get angry.
Yeah.
But then again, it's how we channel the anger. Yeah, and as you said a while ago, I mean, Tony, maybe all of us, every human being, we're struggling with all these issues. All these issues.
Yeah.
To some to a greater extent than others. And again, when you have the resources, you have money, boy, that's a hell. That just doubles triples, right? Quadruples the problem.
How?
Because you can. It's like you in control. You call the shots. Okay, you think that you're the greatest. You're the greatest, and if you had those issues that those people are talking about, how did you get to be so great? You know, these things go through your mind, and you lose the sense of humility, because humility is what keeps you grounded.
Right.
Yeah, it keeps you grounded. For me, Tony, I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I always think that the Most High is watching me. Okay, so when I'm tempted to do something really naughty or something really bad, because Tony, we all have those tendencies, I say, boy, the Creator is watching me there, you know, and
behave thyself.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Check yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he will punish you.
No, but it's true. It's true. He's like well, the word is discipline. He's like a father, right? He sees you going a particular way. He has to discipline you, because Tony, that's the only way we learn. Yeah. I mean, that's the way we learn, the hard way. We don't have to learn that way, right? But most of us, that's how we learn, the hard way.
Yeah.
And then now we nukopan konu. So we said now to change.
It's called experience.
Yeah, exactly. And it costs you dearly.
Yeah.
Yesterday somebody was saying to me, you know, you're always thinking about yourself. Always you first.
Really? Is that true? That's one of the issues.
Well, I defended myself. Yeah. I don't know if they accepted the defense. Always about you. Always about you. Yeah. Always about you. So I made my case.
Yeah.
So I said, so when so and so happened, right? What was I first? Anyway. So Silton, have yourself a nice birthday,
yes,
man.
that's where we were. But
Enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself to the max. Despite what you're going through, we all understand. We all know what's happening there with you. And be strong. Don't worry. I'm working on things for you. Hopefully, I'll get some wood for you by next week. All right?
Happy belated birthday greetings to Swish. Swish celebrated yesterday, the holiday.
Right,
His sister Cynthia Spencer sent us the message saying, hey, wish a happy birthday. It was the following day, which was the holiday. We were not around. So today, let me wish you a belated birthday greetings. We spoke yesterday, and then he said he was just relaxing, enjoying it.
Of course.
Yes,
So Swish, hope you had a nice time, my friend.
Yeah, man.
All right, so Tony, tonight I'm going to be not at DAX tonight. I'm going to be in Industry Choiseul. That's the first time I'm actually going to be in that particular community.
Really?
Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, first time I'm going to be in Industry Choiseul.
Obviously, you know where it is, right?
No.
No way.
But Anthony has been doing his research.
For true.
Yeah, so we'll find a place.
What?
We'll find it. But first time I'd be going to that particular community.
So where was the name of the place and all that? So I mean the place you were playing.
It's called the Desired View Villa.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Desired View Villa.
Yeah, I've never heard of the place before, to be honest.
So
with
how
you.
did that happen?
Well, that's DJ Bucker.
Oh, Bucker.
Yeah, Bucker is going to be there. Fat Boy, Fat Boy is going to be there. Fat Boy, I'm sure he's listening right now.
Mhm.
That's for sure. He
Fat Boy.
drives a minibus.
Oh yes, right. Yes, you mentioned him. Yeah, you mentioned him. Yeah.
A real gentleman.
Mhm.
So Fat Boy is going to be there, and alongside a guy called DJ Explo.
Explode.
Yeah, Explode. I imagine a short for explosion.
I didn't think.
I know. I'm just guessing.
Explode. Okay.
Yeah.
Explode. Yeah, probably.
But to me, honestly, I like it when I'm playing in these communities.
Mhm.
I like it because I'm exploring these areas.
Yeah, new vibe. You know?
And then also the possibility of other opportunities to play because
For
there's
sure,
always
for
somebody
sure,
scouting.
For
Tony.
sure, for sure.
There's always somebody scouting at those events. They
Yeah.
come. They have clubs. They have this. They have that, and then they would hear a good DJ, for example, and then they see maybe you pull a crowd.
Right. So where they hook you up. Let's go.
Yeah.
One more time.
Ali.
Okay, all right. So I know Dax is every Friday.
Yes,
So
yes.
what happened? I mean, since you occupied otherwise.
I already informed them weeks in advance.
Okay.
Yeah. So arrangements have been made.
All right.
Yeah, to fill in the gaps.
Nice. Good vibes. Good vibes.
All right, good stuff. That's for tonight, folks, in Industry Choiseul.
Mhm.
All right, so the Tomaso bread place today, Tony. Boy,
Yes.
they have a lot of stuff there, boy. Let me tell you some of what you can get today. Seasoned rice, ground provisions, mac and cheese, baked chicken, stewed pigtail,
Mhm.
pig foot.
Mhm.
Yeah, pig foot.
Bigfoot is
Yeah.
South, not South. That's Bigfoot.
Well, there's also sauce there, so I guess that's something else.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pig foot. You have sauce, lentils, of course, one of my favorites, lentils and tossed salad. So there's a lot happening at the Tomaso bread place today. Seasoned rice, ground provisions, mac and cheese, everybody's favorite, baked chicken, everybody's favorite, stewed pigtail.
Everybody's
Bigfoot.
favorite.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, so stewed pigtail, pig foot, sauce, lentils, and tossed salad. And of course, the usual sea moss flavors, coconut, ginger, peanut, and peanut punch, and regular sea moss with flaxseed and chia seeds. All happening at the Tomaso bread place
That's
today.
Right. That's right.
All right. Okay, Tony, anything you want to mention before we move on?
I keep forgetting stuff, because it's like you come here, you say, okay, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about that, I'm going to mention this. When Andrea asks me, then of course everything just goes like that. So that's cool, that's okay.
Yeah, I guess that's because we wear many hats.
Oh.
Yeah. We wear a few hats.
Ooh.
There's sometimes I'm on the air doing stuff, and people see me on the phone, and they're thinking I'm just there chatting away. No,
business.
Business. People message, or they try to call. I can't take the call. They have to say to them, "Sorry, I'll have to call you a little later."
Right.
Then they're responding to me now, and I have to respond to them, and that's business. You understand?
That's right.
So some people who don't understand, they don't know what's going on. They're thinking I'm just there playing the fool, but I'm not.
Business.
Okay, so Tony, some real big things happening in healthcare in St. Lucia.
Okay.
Some real big stuff. I think on, was it yesterday, the free breast cancer screening services that was launched. This is under the government's universal health coverage program. So more and more things are being rolled out. So this is the next phase. Free breast cancer screening services. Antonio, they including advanced 3D mammogram technology, and this is for free. So what this does now, it provides early detection and prevention of breast cancer across St. Lucia. This is huge.
Massive.
Yeah, this is huge
honestly,
stuff. This is
massive.
huge.
So everyone can go and get it done,
And for free.
Exactly, because you have no idea what's happening with your body until sometimes it's too late. So when you go and you get the test done, then you realize, okay, I'm okay for at least a year. At least a year.
Are you aware that men can get breast cancer as well?
Yeah, I heard that. That freaked me out.
Yeah, men can get breast cancer. This is serious business. In fact, the experts say there's no part of your body that is immune from cancer.
Andrea, if Bob Marley, I'm never really sure of it. Bob Marley got cancer through an issue he had with his toe.
Probably, I never read that, but probably so. It's possible.
Imagine that.
But only the worst one. No. Let me take that back. A gentleman was talking to me one time. He told me that his wife to be, because they were planning to get married, developed cancer of the vagina.
That's the first one.
Yeah, he
That's
told
the
me he had
first.
cancer, and he was describing it to me. He's describing, the way it looked.
Oh, I could only imagine.
It wasn't nice, from what he
could
said.
only imagine.
And she died. She died eventually. So they never got married.
kidding
Yeah,
me?
and they're already on the way. Yeah, because he's at that point there, it really, I guess, made no sense.
What?
Yeah, to continue the nuptials. But
Andrea,
she
that's the
passed.
first. That's the 1st.
Mhm,
I've
mhm.
never heard of that. Cancer of the vagina.
Of the vagina.
I ain't never heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that does exist. So cancer is a serious thing, folks. So you have the what they call 3D mammogram technology, which is available and available to all St. Lucians. I guess you just have to go to a healthcare facility, make the request. I imagine they will arrange for you, etc., etc. So while you're at it there, make sure you'll have enough blood pressure monitors. So when fellas like me come around, now somebody said they send me a blood pressure monitor. I mean, that's nice. I mean, I don't really believe that they'll send that for me, and that's okay. I mean, I could purchase one if I'd like to purchase one. I'm being very, very honest. But sometimes it's good, Tony, for us guys like you and me to go to these facilities and experience things for ourselves. Because if we, think of it, Tony, if we're supposedly the better bred, supposedly we are the popular ones, right? That in our society, we get a rough time. We get a rough time. Can you imagine an ordinary Joe Blow going to a medical facility and I mean being, well, I don't know, getting better treatment?
Yeah.
I rather doubt it.
Yeah.
I rather doubt it.
Except, there are always exceptions. If somebody like the person, and the person go like, yeah, okay, that happens.
Right, but you'll agree that this is not right.
Yeah, it's
Right?
not. It's
Yeah.
not right, but
So
it's
was-
okay. According to Arthur, remember Arthur used to say that a
Yes,
lot. It's
yeah.
not right, but it's okay.
Yeah, but it's not okay because, as you said a while ago, it's supposed to be fair. So because you know the person now, you make an exception. So I don't agree with that because, Tony, everybody has to be treated equally. So I'm saying that while it's true, fellas like me, I can get a blood pressure instrument. I can if I'd like to. But it's good for us to go experience these things for ourselves and see what's going on.
I honestly, strongly believe in what you just said there. I'll give it a little bit of a case in point. That from time to time, Andre, my vehicle is down. I jump on a bus. I enjoy it.
Exactly. I
enjoy it.
And you experience what a lot of commuters experience.
Exactly.
Right, which may be good or which may be bad. That's why now, Tony, you can come on these shows like these now with your story.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So it gives you an opportunity. I mean, Tony, the amount of places I've gone to for service and so on, and I get a rough time. Either they know me and they just choose to give me a rough time because the fact that they know me and think, oh, who the hell is you think you are kind of thing.
Right.
Or they just maybe don't know me and they don't really care. Is it in my skin kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not stupid. I stand up for my rights. I say things how I see them.
I ain't saying nothing.
You see it?
Andre, I ain't saying. Inside, I'm boiling. Like when I see I'm on a line and it's just so slow, and I'm seeing, as far as I can see, there's no reason for it to be that slow. And the reason being maybe the person who is doing the service, providing the service, is just maybe chatting away or just moving really, really slow, Andre. I am boiling inside. I say not a word.
Years ago.
I think my problem is, that's one of my issues, Andre. It's my biggest problem, arguing and getting upset. I get upset badly. Yeah.
You need to talk to Justin Bieber. Well, years ago,
Almost can't control myself when
years ago, I was at a bank. I wouldn't say which one it was. And the bank was like, line almost ready to go on the outside, right? Through the front door. And I think there were 2 tellers at that particular bank. And St. Lucians, of course, we're just there. We're not complaining. We're not saying anything. I was a lot younger back in the day.
Not today way.
Yeah.
People making noise.
Right. And imagine there were I think there were about 3 or 4 people who came from England, black people, and they got really upset. And I said, well, what foolishness is this? With a British accent, and we're giving them the management a rough time. Tony, in less than no time, they filled those empty spaces there with tellers. Less than no time.
Yeah.
And I learned a lesson from that day. I said, boy, you see that?
Speak up.
Yeah, speak up. I mean, of course, I wouldn't do it like that.
Do it respectfully.
Yeah, I would probably go maybe to one of the managers and say softly, hey, there are lots of customers there. You should have some more tellers. Whether it's the bank, whether it's Lucelec, whether it's Wasco or wherever. So we
Then
need
they
to
tell
speak
you
up.
we're short staff, and what do you expect me to do? You know, then I get upset. You understand?
Well,
I just chill. I ain't saying that.
a good manager would try to reach out again. A good one, huh?
Mhm.
A good one.
Mhm.
All right. So, like I said, it's up to us when we experience those things to come share them with our listeners, and also bring them to the attention of the authorities. Because when I had my experiences, Tony, I called the Minister for Health immediately.
Mhm.
Yeah, not because I wanted anybody to get fired or anything like that. I just spoke about the experience. I don't necessarily have to tell him exactly where I went. I just have to tell him about the experience, because Tony, I don't want anybody to lose their job on because of what I have to say. You know, I wouldn't like that.
Mhm.
So I'm very, very careful as to how I phrase my complaint, especially when I'm speaking to somebody in a position of authority. All right? Okay. Tony, in the baking industry, they're facing a shortage of skilled workers. Yeah, a shortage of skilled workers in the baking industry. Luther, good morning, Luther. Yes.
One of the really good skilled ones.
Yes, he is.
Andre, made so skilled, and it can take. Mate can take something like he do maybe on a regular basis, and just get creative with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, I wish he'd bring back the currant cakes.
Current.
Currant cakes.
Oh, you mean the
cakes that
current
have
slice?
all the raisins in there.
Yeah. Current slice. Yeah.
Now, you know, Angel Without Wings, she tried it the other day.
Mm-hmm. I
And that
remember
was
that.
excellent. It was
I remember
excellent.
that, right.
And she loaded that thing with the raisins,
yeah.
man. Tony, the thing was crying. It was crying. You know, you could see all the,
So you have
so nice.
You have a bit of a sweet tooth, huh?
Oh,
I think we've spoken
extreme.
about.
Extreme.
Oh,
Of course, I try to control it.
Yeah.
I try to control it. But what do you say? I get down into some real good cake or some good ice cream. Oh man, I enjoy myself to the max. And then of course I take a break.
Yeah.
Take a little break. I give it a little break and then come back to it again. Life is short. You know what I mean, life is short. And whatever little goodies that the good Lord has given to us, given human beings the skills to make those goodies. I'm not saying they don't have the issues,
Right.
but to live your life and say as though you're not eating this and I don't know. Tony, I always said I do not know how people like Pris Kailash, how they do it, how they able to control themselves and eat only the healthy stuff. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, years of
And
practice.
Tony, and not that they raise their kids that same way.
Right. So for the kids, it's easier because
you think so?
Uh-huh.
But when they see their friends, Tony, they see their friends eating the junk and so on.
Let me put it this way, it almost upsets you. If there's something that you do not like, and we have this partner that used to hang out with us, right? He's probably listening right now. And when he first started hanging out with us, we eating our KFCs, our barbecues, and so on. It just like right? It just like you almost sometimes just actually have to move because for years and years and years and years and years he gave that up. So if you grew up not eating it, it's a little easier. It almost like I say bouleverse. It upsets your stomach when you're smelling this thing because you're just not accustomed to it.
I suppose. Yeah. But as I said, life is short. And we have all these little goodies around the place. I think it's only fair that we enjoy it from time to time.
I think so. Once you can afford it,
we just have to control it.
Once you can afford it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why every once in a while I indulge myself.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently there's a shortage. Anthony, are you surprised that there's a shortage in the baking industry, I guess, for bakers and so on?
No, I'm not surprised. Andrew, any shortage of any skill in St. Lucia, I'm not surprised. People just ain't getting into these things anymore, where you use your hands and so on, you know. Young people.
I wonder what the problem is, especially in the baking industry.
Good question.
What's the problem? Why is it that you have a lot of people leaving the baking and I guess to go into other avenues? Could it be maybe the remuneration is not that great? That could be one thing.
I wonder.
Maybe it's long hours. That could be another. I'm not sure because Tony, we know that Luther, is a hard worker.
Yeah.
He starts early in the morning and
all day, all night.
All day, all night. It's hard work.
That's why you need others. Like, you hire, again, the bakers, you train them and so on, because he too was trained by someone, despite the fact that he loved it. His mom loved it. That's why they decided to open a bakery, because the mom loved baking, as a hobby. So they just did that, and then they realized, well, wait a second, we can open a bakery and sell bread and cakes and so on, pastry, etc.
Yes.
And they did that, so then he was trained, but there is no one else for him to train, so to speak, that he could get a rest.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's
you're waiting for me to get there?
So that's the point.
That's the problem right there with the bakers. because there's not enough skilled or persons who are interested in it anymore.
I wonder whether his sister,
Beverly Ann?
Beverly Ann can take over when he's done. I wonder.
She has her role, and her role is kind of like managing the business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the question is, Tony, is there a plan? Is there no succession plan?
According to you, you know the thing. Andre, you know the thing. It's like, okay, whatever maybe if he ages and he just can't do it anymore, then that's it. Goodbye. Close. You know what I mean? Close shop and let's enjoy the if you know what I mean.
I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case.
Andre, what's wrong with that?
No, Tony. I mean, that's your legacy. It has to move on. It has to move on.
Not necessarily, because our legacy was a shop. We had a shop. We were first shop in La Claire, as far as I remember. All right. So before the one that was pretty popular, Beau Soleil and Ma Frankie and all them, we had a shop. You understand? Where is that now?
And where are those other shops?
Where are those? Exactly. So it's just a thing. But hopefully it closes. Like I said, with in terms of the bakery and so on, Andrew, with Luther. It closes and they're old enough. They say now we can just relax ourselves and just enjoy our hard-earned labor.
Okay, well, maybe so. Maybe Luther can
in their situation.
Can confirm that maybe next week on Monday. Maybe Luther give us a shout and we can talk about it, right? But obviously, Tony, I mean that's just for the bakery in La Claire. But there are other bakeries and they probably have a succession plan, or maybe they don't.
Probably.
But bakeries they serve a very, very important
for me,
service.
Yes,
right?
they do.
Because Tony, bread is a staple. I mean, almost everybody has bread at least for breakfast.
You
at
betcha,
least,
you betcha. If you like somebody I know really, really well, I hope she's listening. Andre, I don't want to. I mean, how people live without bread?
You see.
But you cannot live without bread.
Even at the Tommaso bread place as well.
Yes.
Think of it.
Exactly.
That's what brings in the bulk of the customers.
I do not know for sure. I don't know if you ever asked. That's what the people started selling it.
Yeah,
bread.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they just
expanded.
Yes, to all kind of other
but
things,
you see,
meals and so on.
The good thing, Tony, is that the children got involved in the business.
Very much so.
And they took it to another level.
Right.
The original, their father, he's still alive,
Really?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and he's like, he kind of works behind the scenes now.
Really?
Yeah, yes. So the children have taken over that place.
There are a few of them, like a few children?
Yeah, of course. All of them are in the family. Tony,
all of them in the business?
Even some of the grandchildren in the business.
In the business?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a family business. So definitely looks like there's a future for the business. It looks that way. It looks that way.
So they have like stupid question. A bakery? Is it like a wall bakery?
Yeah. The original foo.
Right. so that's they still use that to bake.
Same thing. That's there.
Okay. Hey,
I think
give me a tour, man.
that can be arranged. Yeah, man. I'll arrange that for you.
Yes, man.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful industry. It provides a valuable service. Bread, because Saint-Lucians love bread, Tony, and we love cakes as well. We can't get away from that.
Definitely.
Okay. We love cakes.
Let's go back to the shortage of bakers. That's what it is, right? Bakers,
yes.
Not necessarily bakeries, right? Bakers.
Yeah, bakers.
That's what we're talking about. The younger people who would probably need to just do. You're looking for work. Let one learn to bake bread, man. Honestly, Andre, go and learn to bake bread.
But Tony, the question is just like the agriculture industry, right? Or let's talk about the banana industry, for example. Okay. Is it a cool thing? Is it something that they feel proud to be part of? Because once upon a time, when you were doing certain types of employment, you feel proud. You do that thing, and there are reasons to feel proud about it. So the question is whether those reasons still exist for doing certain types of employment, and the reasons to feel proud, do they still exist? Or it has to have the dynamic shifted to the point now where there's no pride in that anymore. Okay, so until the powers that be can make these things something that is attractive for young people will not be interested in that.
Because basically you're saying it ain't paying enough, right?
That's part of it. That's part of the problem, and it's hard work. It's hard work.
Andre?
Luther is the chief executive officer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's a family business, so there's certain advantages. We can't get away from that. Certain advantages. The same thing for the Thomas of Bread place. So there's certain advantages. But when you're working now, Tony, for somebody, that's a different kettle of fish.
Thank goodness for minimum wage.
Right.
Meet the minister.
Well, that's a good point you're making there.
How you mean? I actually meant that. I know I said it funny, but I meant that. Thank God for minimum wage. So that is where, but that's the thing, skilled workers. Remember just the other day, they were talking about the hotels and skilled workers. You're not skilled enough and you lie on your application, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Skilled workers. Just go and learn. Andre, learn to, I'll say it again, learn to go bake bread. Learn to bake. Andre, when you learn that skill, Andre, who it belong to? You.
It's you.
It's yours. You can move on and do your own eventually.
That's true, Tony. That is true what you're saying there. And I do not want to throw cold water on what you're saying. Because, Tony, to start a business, it's nothing easy. We are
of course.
we are in it, and
yes.
now we understand.
Yes.
Especially, it's not like maybe long ago when things were different. Now you have a lot of challenges,
Yeah.
a lot of challenges. Now it's one thing if there's maybe one or two bakeries. Now we have a whole ton of bakeries, so it's a lot more competitive. You understand?
But
You understand?
as we were saying, young ones are born before the old ones die, and the old ones fail. And sometimes, again, if it's a family business, then of course the younger ones, the children who show interest, then they can take over the business. If the children don't show interest, and you hire outsiders and they get trained, that's where I was saying you can go and open your own business after a while, after some time of you realizing, man, I could do this by myself. I'm pretty much skilled. I was well trained, so I opened my own bakery.
Let's hope, Tony, with the youth economy, that let's hope you're right. Let's hope that this is a way of making it easier to get the loan that you will need. But I can tell you, folks, despite that, it involves a lot of sacrifice.
It does.
A lot of sacrifice.
It does.
And the question is a young person willing to make that kind of sacrifice?
Right. Patience as well.
You're right. Exactly.
Patience.
Exactly.
Because, up to, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I was on the air, and a listener was texting me saying, patience, things will happen, things will turn over. Sometimes you meet people, they say, because they ask you, how's the business, how's the thing going? And you say, well, boy, we're there, we're doing all right. But in terms of the money, it's not really there as yet, and we got bills to pay. So it's like they tell you, be patient, be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. Because you just figure, hey man, it's a radio. Let's do it ours. It's a radio station. It's a bakery. People like to buy bread and then eat bread. So you're gonna make money.
Yeah, but Tony, how much you think you're paying for bread like that?
I know, because it's controlled.
Exactly, yeah, boy. It's
price control.
It's rough.
And all of that.
And it's always good, people say, hang in there and so on. But the thing is, you have to know how you're hanging in. And I'm saying that not for us, not for us. I'm speaking in general, where you have people who are thinking of having their own business.
Yes.
Okay. It's rough. It's rough. The first 2-3 years, you got to keep your head above water. It's nothing easy.
That's right.
Nothing easy.
So that is why included in the loan that you're going to be taking should be, for one, marketing the business, advertising the business, letting people know that you're there. All right, along with maybe monies that will keep you for, as you say, maybe years. I'm thinking months, but maybe years.
Exactly, at least 5 years.
Yeah.
And what boy? Anyway.
That's for
it's rough.
show.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. That's for sure. That's for sure. Okay,
Yes.
Tony. I promised to talk since earlier this week. I said we want to talk about the situation in Trinidad, where now the current government, is taking a very, very hard stance on this issue of fights in schools and so on. And I honestly, I guess they will pass legislation eventually to deal with this particular matter. And I hope other CARICOM countries follow suit, because this is ridiculous. We see it all the time, and kids are just fighting with each other, whether female on female. Let me see, which one do I see more often, Tony?
Fellas, guys.
Fellas? Yeah, fellas.
Although these days you see little girls fighting so much, I wonder.
Yeah.
Maybe the boys own are not recorded or something. Or the boy own is bam, bam, boom, let's go.
And what concerns me about the females, at least those videos I've seen, is the females are fighting and the boys are recording.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just not cool. As males, your first thing should be to go and separate. Oh. Because these are females. The female's not going to do you anything much. Men are generally stronger than women. Males are generally stronger. I mean, physically, that is, generally stronger than females. So you have those boys there could just all get together and just go stop it. But they seem to be enjoying the fight more than anybody else. So the Trinidad government is going really, really hard and really far with this thing. They're saying that if you are the one caught, now I'm not sure, I guess you'll have to prove maybe you're the victim or in a particular circumstance, that they're going to expel you. They're going to expel you. That's a serious, serious, serious thing, because once they expel you, that means you have to find some way of educating yourself, some other avenue. And now, can you afford it to go to a private school?
Exactly. That's the part. And as I said earlier,
will they enroll you too?
That's exactly where I was going to go, because I said earlier when we briefed it on the last time we were here Wednesday, that once you are expelled from a school, it is extremely difficult, because you have to say, why are you coming to this other school? You know, where were you? Where were you before? What were you doing before? You know what I mean? So then you have to probably say, well, I was expelled. Why were you expelled? For blah, 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 blah. And up to that school to accept you, or say, well, hey, we don't want your character in our school. You know, or as you rightly said, pay for private school.
I wonder, part of the legislation, if it would include maybe the government still following up with you, still working with you to ensure that you are enrolled in some kind of institution. Because to leave a young person kind of on their own kind of thing, right? I mean, I really hope what they're going to be doing there would involve rehabilitation and this sort of thing, counseling. I really, really hope so. Because, boy, when you have an uneducated mind out there, that is a recipe for disaster.
That's true.
It's a recipe for disaster. And they're coming down really, really hard. It's not just only expelling you. They are going after the parents as well, the parents who come into the schools and fight with teachers and those kinds of things, right? Oh, they're coming down hard. And they're also coming hard on those individuals who are going to be recording the fights and egging the students on. So, Tony, I support that, to be honest with you. My only concern is, will the government, I'm talking about Trinidad and Tobago folks, because this is the first time we're hearing about that. I hope they follow up. They don't just abandon the student that's expelled, because that's a recipe for disaster there, right there.
It is. And you know, Andrew, I wanted to add that to the baker thing, to bake and so on. I wanted to add that because you were talking about, it paying well and all of that. What I wanted to say was, Mama used to say, Andrew, I'll never forget that. Mama used to tell me, in the gutter you want to go and work when you grow up?
Yeah.
And as a kid, I kind of understood it, because get that education, get it, so you don't have to work in the gutter. You understand that kind of thing. But there will always be those to pick up the garbage, and so like just this morning, I threw some garbage, and I realized the guy was collecting the garbage and so on. I'm like, yeah, somebody has to do it. You know? And as far as I'm concerned, Andre, just feel proud. Just do your job. Do it diligently, Andre. It is what it is. It is what you can do until, if possible, you either learn a trade, Andre. Again, that's the thing, I mentioned it earlier. When you learn a trade, you can work with somebody. They train you. Now you can go and work for yourself or work for a bigger company. Let's just say, Andre, in terms of a mechanic, you learn your mechanics with a roadside mechanic. And then you realize, okay, he teach me, and then you go to work with maybe a bigger company. So you get more money, that kind of thing, until you're able to do your own.
Yes. So while we understand, Tony, and we must make allowance for that, there's some people who are quite satisfied with being a garbage collector. Some people are quite satisfied with that. They don't want anything more than that. As far as they're concerned, that's their little job. They make their little salary.
It's true.
They can, they can pay their little rent or whatever.
It's true.
So we have to understand that people like that, and we have to respect that.
Yes.
Because as you said, Tony, somebody has to collect the garbage.
That's right.
However, that it doesn't mean because you're collecting garbage, you have to stay there. You can help yourself to go to another level. All right? You can. It's just a question of making the sacrifices and needed to take things to another level. But we understand that there are people. So in other words, Tony, there will always be people who are, because God set it up like that, there will always be people who will collect the garbage. We can't get away from that, because imagine what our society will look like without garbage collectors. Okay? So there will always be garbage collectors. So you have one tranche, next tranche coming in, next tranche. But the tranche that came first doesn't mean that they have to remain as garbage collectors. They could move on. They could move on to things that are a lot better for them.
Exactly.
Or they can decide to stay in the position that they are.
Right.
And we have to respect that.
Right.
Okay? So look and say, Tony, thank God, Tony, that they are garbage collectors.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Because without them,
You
our
could
society
imagine.
would be in a mess.
Exactly.
Complete mess. What we need to do as a society, as a government, is to ensure that these people are well compensated,
Yeah.
that they can feel happy. So I can tell you something, huh? I can tell you something. You see, tonight I'm going down to industry, Joselle. You know what motivates me? I mean, apart from the fact I love driving, I love to drive any day than to go in an aircraft. I don't like being in an aircraft. I don't like being cooped up and so on. I don't like the fact that I'm not in control of my life at that particular point in time. But when I'm driving, I'm in control, right? I know how I'm driving. I know my business.
That is why you prefer to drive than have somebody else drive.
Oh yeah,
right?
and I feel a lot safer if I'm
You're
driving.
driving,
So
yeah.
I enjoy the drive. In addition to that, what motivates me for anything, whether it's what we're doing here or playing out, is the fact that I know at the end of the night, I'll be satisfied. You understand? I'll be satisfied with my earnings for the night. That I mean, that is what propels me to do anything that I'm doing. That at the end of the month or end of the night, I don't feel frustrated. You know, you get paid, you're going,
Yeah.
you know, kind of, you just troops in because you look at kind of thing. You're upset with yourself,
Yeah.
right? So for me, that's what propels me. So I'm saying, for any society, yes, I understand we have minimum wage, but sometimes the minimum wage could even be much better than that. So even if somebody's a garbage collector, it doesn't mean that we have to treat them that way. Okay?
Oh yeah.
And our society tends to think like that. That, hey, you didn't go to school, who you think you are to want to get a good salary kind of thing. Yeah. That's what the government is supposed to be doing, making sure that everybody, at least to the best of their ability, is happy, is satisfied.
Yeah.
Right? And do not allow people to take advantage of the most vulnerable in society. It's the government's responsibility to do that. Okay? So, back to the thing there about what the Trinidad and Tobago government is doing.
Children.
There was a fight that they had a few days ago. Again, I saw about, let me see, I think about 5 or 6 girls on one. And they said that that happened at the gate of some, you know, we have St. Joseph's Convent in St. Lucia. It's called the convent, some Cuva convent or whatever they call it. And they said that the girls that were fighting with that one who was going to the convent, that particular convent in Trinidad, they came from other schools.
Oh.
So God knows what's going on, especially where girls are concerned. You know, and you know we like to speculate. We like to say must be over some boy, you know, over some boy. Probably so. We don't know.
Yeah.
But they suspended all of them,
Okay.
and the girl actually ended up in the hospital. That's how bad it was. I mean, five on one.
Yeah.
Gee, man. And again, Tony, we have people there recording this thing. Yeah. There's a video I have of a man and a woman. They could be husband and wife, I'm not too sure. Right? Now, to be honest with you, sorry, Tony, and sorry, listeners and viewers, I laughed so much, my belly was hurting me when I saw that. These are 2 elderly people, right?
Elderly.
And having a go at it. Now, you can see there's a lady coming into the room, well, it looked like a kitchen. So the guy is taking, you know, he has the lady, he's holding her like by her throat kind of thing. And the lady, I'm assuming is his wife, I'm just assuming, I don't know. She's taking whatever implement, whatever you see the kitchen has, and letting him have it in his head, you know. And Tony, all made like in a straight jacket, he had a big head, and all he did just try to hold the lady in one position and pushing her. Now, I laugh because, I mean, nothing bad happened. But what freaked me out, I said, but there's somebody recording this thing. Somebody's recording this thing, and they're not doing anything about it.
Right,
A lady comes down through the door, you can see her, she's going, oh my God, you know, she's freaking out to see the 2 people are fighting and so on like that. So nothing surprising. Again, I only speculate. Maybe Mr. was being troublesome. Maybe have a few chicks outside there. So he come home, and she was on his case. Rightly so. So partner figure, who is you to come and talk to me? Folks, that's just me saying my thing, you know. This is me saying my thing.
Yeah,
So
according to what you saw on the video.
yeah. So he's just there, Tony, like in a straight jacket, right? He's just holding the lady, like kind of pushing her, and she's letting him have it. And the video just ends there with him, with her, look like she take a ladle or something and give him a lash on his head.
Yeah. So he was pushing her, or
pushing
he
her.
held onto her.
He was just pushing her.
Okay, and she
Yeah.
was just lashing.
Yeah, he wasn't hitting her or anything. Like,
Okay,
he was just pushing her away.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another one I have. I have all these videos, you know. There's another one, a guy and a lady outside the house. And the neighbors are actually laughing because it's two old people, middle-aged people. And the neighbors are kya, they laugh at it. And the lady takes a rock, right? And you could see, like, she's setting the rock. She knows she doesn't want to hit the guy. She doesn't want to hit him. So she sends it in a position as though she pretends she's sending it after him, and he ducks. He ducks, and he comes up. He smiles for her. You can see all his teeth, because them people already used to do that kind of thing. Yeah, and then now he comes outside. He pretends as though he wants to hit her for a rock, And he knows you're going to somebody, like you want to do it, and you're not going to do it. So he drops the rock. He drops everything else in his hand. Yeah, and the lady walks off, and I laugh at that. Oh gosh, sorry, folks, sorry. I don't say that I should be laughing at that kind of thing, but it's funny. It's really funny. No harm done. No harm done. All right. Okay. So Tony, just quickly. The Dominican Prime Minister said something really, I never heard that before. Roosevelt Skerritt. You know what he said? He said that he thinks it's about time that CARICOM engages the gangs in Haiti. Yeah, in other words, let's talk. Let's see how we can work with you to solve the problems that we're going through. Because he's making a point. He said, listen, the fellas are Haitians at the end of the day. You cannot ignore them. If you continue ignoring them, they will continue doing what they're doing.
It's true. Just so, as you said earlier, the bank thing, and now from that time you realize you got to speak up and try to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what you
said.
So
So that's kind of thinking outside the box, because in the Caribbean, we're not known to think like that, to engage the bad boys. Right? So that's his suggestion in moving forward. I don't know, it's kind of controversial, because the thing is that, Tony, these fellas have done some bad things already. Mm-hmm. They've killed a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
How do you now negotiate with them? That means now they can't go to jail, right? Because that'll be part of the arrangement. You can't tell a man, let's talk, and then you tell him, you have to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, this is a tough one.
Yes, it is.
And it's really, as I said, it's really thinking outside the box.
Yes.
Because we don't normally want to negotiate with people we know who are involved in activity, criminal activity.
That's right.
So we know what message will we be sending to other would-be criminals and this sort of thing.
Exactly.
But he does have a point, because there have been many examples, Tony, where people have put down their arms.
Mm-hmm.
You have revolutionaries and so on. There's a guy there, I think he died just recently. I must look for the story. One of the South American countries. And he used to be involved in guerrilla activity. He was for many years. In fact, he went to prison, everything. He served time, and now he became president of the same country.
You don't remember which one, huh?
I'll get it, okay, because I want to talk about that in detail.
Okay.
So it's not something that is unusual. You have Northern Ireland, right? You have those who are involved in bombings and so on. Look, you have in Syria right now a guy who was actually heading a branch of Al Qaeda. He's now president, I guess some interim president of Syria. He's there right now. He was considered a bad boy. America had him considered him there was a bounty on his head, a big time terrorist. Now these people now have put their arms down, and they seem to have a change. Yeah, but how do you explain that to your people, that you're working with somebody who was involved in murder, and boy, this is rough.
It is.
It's
Andre,
rough.
c'est très difficile. I like to say that.
It's rough.
Très difficile.
That's rough, but not impossible.
Yeah.
I guess I have to work it out.
What?
Now, Tony, another hot car incident. This what happened in Florida. A guy left his 18-month-old son. The son's name is Sebastian. He left him in the vehicle for over 3 hours. They said the child's temperature rose to 111 degrees Fahrenheit. That is, I hope, Tony, all I could say, I hope when these children are going through that sort of experience, that maybe they just pass away peacefully, in a sense, without much suffering.
No, it's impossible. You suffer.
Boy.
Yeah, you suffer.
And the guy went to cut his hair, and he was drinking at a bar, and he forgot the child in the vehicle. So you have to, what? Boy, Tony, anyway, he's been arrested. Just so everybody knows, they arrested him.
Did the child die?
Of course, yes, of course. The man went to get his hair cut, and he went to some bar. I think the name of the bar is Hanky Panky.
Hanky Panky.
Hanky Panky Lounge. They're drinking. with his buddies and so on, and the child is in that vehicle there for over 3 hours. What, I keep asking, what is going through the minds of these people? You're totally oblivious to the fact that you have a child in a car. I try to imagine myself that happening to me, and I don't know, I can't begin to even imagine something like that. Because the child takes front and center stage at that particular moment. You know you have a child with you, right? Tony, one time I remember, many times, sent me for Nairobi, and one particular case, Hassani, I was with Hassani, and I was on this Derek Walcott Square, and this guy came to talk to me. The man wanted to have one kind of long conversation about what makes me mad, and he was just going on and on and on, right? And I told him, partner, you don't have my son there with me. Yeah, I have my son there with me, so you have to understand that I can't be talking to you about this kind of thing. I was just so aware. You remember the days when we used to go to the market with Mama, and they'd get into these conversations, and completely, we're there, she wouldn't let us go, but we had to be dealing with the fact that these people are talking about stuff we know nothing about. We're not interested in that. You understand?
We're children.
We're just there. We just have to be, we're just there beside ourselves. Right? We're kind of angry. We kind of I'm hungry. You know what I mean? We don't have that kind of patience. So when parents have children, we have to be aware of those things. And to tell me, leaving children in our boy, as I said, I cannot. Things happen. Human beings, we make mistakes. We forget. I don't say no, but you know what I like, to be honest with you, is sending a strong message to these people right now.
Right.
You can't be doing this kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, we not allow it.
Yes.
Okay, at least maybe that will help to limit the number of times we hear about these hot car cases.
It's too many, Andre. Honestly, it's too many. Andre, you kind of said it, but let me just add my little 2 cents in 10 seconds. You cannot, for any time whatsoever, leave the child in a vehicle and completely forget the child. Andre, your children are on your mind almost all the time. Somehow they're going to cross your mind and say, hey, where is it? I have my son in my vehicle. It's going to cross your mind. It's supposed to cross your mind.
And why would you're going to cut your hair?
Right.
Why would
Why
you leave
leave
the child in a vehicle?
Exactly.
You take the child with you.
That's right.
And
I understand the bar.
And even if you have the aircon on or something, I'm assuming that's the case. There was one recently, there's another, that one could have been tragic again. Somebody happened to see the child in the vehicle.
Yeah.
That happened about 2-3 weeks ago. That happened.
Okay.
They happened to see the child in the vehicle, and they called the authorities.
Why they do it, man?
Yeah. That could have been another tragic situation again.
Is it a I'm just trying to find reasons. Okay, I think you wanted to go to another story.
No, that's it.
Okay,
No.
I'm trying to think, Andre. Is it a law, barbershop? Let's deal with the latest one. That you cannot take, or children are not allowed in the barbershop, but they cut children's hair as well.
I don't think so at all.
How can you? Why wouldn't you bring the child in the barbershop with you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Where he's right. He is right there. Your eyes are on the child, and everything is okay. Well, then you want to go to the bar after that, Andre?
Exactly.
Then maybe just drop the child somewhere or something. Leave the child in the vehicle, and you go and wet the gosh.
I only hope he didn't do that deliberately.
You know what I'm saying?
I only hope so. But the authorities are investigating, and they say they'll be giving some more details a little later. Okay, folks, we got to wrap it up. No shout-outs to Tony. Yeah, that's
so
it.
let's leave it 11 o'clock. We're done?
That's it. We're done.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't the planned thing. It's just because we're supposed to have meet the minister today. So just, of course, to ensure that we keep our listeners entertained and enlightened, etc., etc. So we'll do the shout-outs on Monday next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Most definitely.
Alrighty, thank you.
Just let me say this quickly. The numbers weren't too bad on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Strange enough, yeah. I was like, because it was a surprise. We just did this because there was no meet the minister. Let me just say this, Andre, quickly. The last quarterfinal of the Calypso competition took place on Wednesday night. Done. We should have the results by later today.
Okay, wonderful. Anthony, I must admit, this year, boy, they have Calypsos giving the government licks, and they have Calypsos that giving the government props.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And strange, given the opposition licks.
Yes, that as well. That as well. So the opposition getting licks, government getting licks.
Yeah.
And these seem to be some of the more popular ones. Yes.
Enjoy those.
I played a few of them this morning, actually.
I heard.
I was very careful actually. I played those that were pro and those that are against.
Right.
Yeah, good balance, right?
Yes.
Okay, folks.
You're being fair.
I try. All right, so we have Kina coming on next. She'll be with you until 3 o'clock this afternoon. From 3 is going to be Zen, the DJ, until 6. And of course, this evening, if you have the time down in Industry Choiseul, I'll be coming to that community for the very first time. So a special good morning to DJ Bucka, special good morning to DJ Fatboy and DJ Explo. So God willing, see you guys a little later. All right, so Tony, have yourself a nice weekend.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you want to. We can just, because I have the semi-finalists right here. Those going to the semi-finals.
Will that take long?
Nah, I could run through it.
All right.
In alphabetical order, Ashe from TOT Village, CR from TOT Village, Divine from Kaiso Pro's Tent, Educator from Fire One, Herb Black from TOT Village, Juice Man from TOT Village, Jurgen from Kaiso Pro's Tent, Luzanne from South Calypso Tent, Minel from the South Calypso Tent, Mighty Sizzler from Fire One, Mystic from the Kaiso Pro's Tent, Nashil from TOT Village, Reddy from Fire One, Robert. Yes, Robert. Oh, good. Congrats. TOT Village. Also Robbie from Fire One. Solange also from Fire One. TC Brown from Kaiser Pro's Tent. And Tikaro from TOT Village.
Wow. So Minel didn't make it.
Andre, to me, I read Minel there.
You did?
Yeah, man. Minel there from the South Calypso Tent.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Yes. Alrighty. Well, good stuff. So, folks, keep it locked to Rev-Up St. Lucia. Thank you so much for your company. Stay with us for the rest of the day until, let me see, Monday morning, same time at 5 o'clock for another Wake Up and Live. Tony, I want to thank you, Tony, because this was short notice.
Yes.
Thank you so much for making the time to come and be with us today.
Yeah.
I already said if you couldn't make it, I've done the show by myself.
Okay.
yeah, but I prefer, when we have two, so we have more of a balance.
Definitely.
It's not just me saying stuff there. Nobody challenge what I'm saying.
Right, exchange and so on.
Right. Okay, so stay tuned. We have Kina coming on next. Take care. Bye-bye.
Rev-Up St. Lucia is located at Unit 4, Gablewoods Mall, Sunny Acres, Gas Street, St. Lucia. Tune in to us at 97.1 FM and online at revupslu.com. Call the studio at 572-9710 or WhatsApp 287-0971 or